Before I tell you this story, I need you to stop scrolling for just 2 minutes. Because this one is about a pregnant woman who lost everything, her home, her money, her car, and the one person her husband never thought to check on. Stay with me. It gets good. She walked into that courtroom 8 months pregnant, wearing a dress she borrowed from a neighbor, while her husband's girlfriend sat in the front row in a designer blazer, rubbing her manicured nails like she had already won. And honestly, everyone thought she had. Daniel Hargrove was one of Portland's most feared construction moguls. He had the lawyers, the connections, and the narrative already written. His wife Maya was just the tired, swollen woman he was trying to discard before the baby arrived. He had hidden the money. He had forged the documents. He had even filed a motion claiming Maya was mentally unfit to raise their own child. But Daniel made one catastrophic mistake. He never once looked up the name on the judge's bench. The morning Maya Hargrove was handed a manila envelope and told to leave her own home, it was raining in Portland. She stood on the front steps of the colonial house she had painted herself, the nursery inside half finished, the baby's name already stenciled above the crib, and read the words voluntary separation agreement while her hands shook. Daniel stood in the doorway, not looking at her, looking past her. His girlfriend, Tara Flynn, 26, a former paralegal at his firm, leaned against the doorframe twirling a car key. Not just any key, Maya's car key. "You kept the insurance in your name," Tara said, smiling. "That was sweet. We'll handle the transfer this week." Daniel finally spoke. "The hotel on Morrison is paid through Friday. My lawyers will reach out Monday. Don't post anything on social media. You'll only embarrass yourself." Maya pressed her hand to her stomach. 7.5 months. She felt the baby kick. "Daniel," she whispered, "I signed the company over to you, my inheritance, my mother's money, $300,000. And I built it into something real," he said flatly. "You were a down payment, not a partner. People mature out of arrangements like this." He closed the door. For 4 days, Maya sat in a hotel room with a cracked radiator and $47 in her account. Daniel's legal team, Whitmore and Fitch, had already filed motions painting her as emotionally volatile and financially reckless. They submitted photos of her crying at the hospital during a difficult prenatal appointment as evidence of instability. They submitted nursery furniture receipts as proof of reckless spending. She had no lawyer, no money, a baby coming in 6 weeks. On the 5th morning, she opened her phone and scrolled past everyone she had quietly lost over 3 years of Daniel isolating her from her own life. She stopped at one name, Dad. She hadn't spoken to him in 4 years. The last time they talked, he had told her Daniel was a predator in a pressed shirt. She had screamed at him to stay out of her life. She had blocked his number. Her hands trembled as she dialed. It rang twice. "Judge Caldwell's chambers." Maya closed her eyes. "Please tell him it's his daughter. Tell him it's Maya." A long pause, then a voice she hadn't heard in 4 years. "Maya," she broke completely. Judge Leonard Caldwell was not a man anyone described warmly. His colleagues called him precise. His clerks called him terrifying. The legal community called him the surgeon because he cut through dishonesty the way a scalpel cuts through skin, clean, deliberate, and without apology. He had spent 4 years staring at a photograph on his desk of a young woman in a graduation gown who had stopped returning his calls. When Maya walked into his office, he didn't speak immediately. He looked at her, the borrowed dress, the dark circles, the hand resting protectively over her stomach. 4 years of heartbreak dissolved in about 30 seconds. She told him everything: the inheritance, the forged operating agreements, the lawyers who were about to bury her. "He told me the judge was already handled," Maya said quietly. "His exact words were, 'I paid the right people, Maya. You're not going to win anything.'" Leonard's jaw tightened. "What division did he file in?" "Family Court, Division C. Judge Mercer presides over Division C." A pause. "Mercer had emergency knee surgery 2 days ago. He'll be out 3 months." Maya looked up slowly. "They rotate senior judges to cover the backlog," Leonard said. "It's technically random. He picked up his phone. "Margaret, I'm looking at the Division C family court rotation. I'd like to cover the docket next week. I have pro bono hours to clear." He hung up. "Dad," Maya started. "My name in that courtroom is Your Honor," he said. "Now listen, you are going to walk in there alone, no lawyer. You are going to let them smirk, let them perform, let him think he's already won. Why? Because a man like Daniel Hargrove needs to climb very high before I pull the floor out from under him." He slid a check across the desk. "Buy one good suit, wear your grandmother's bracelet if you still have it. Look like a woman holding herself together with everything she has, nothing more." The hallway outside Courtroom 3C on Tuesday morning was marble and cold echoes. Maya sat on a hard bench, one hand on her stomach, the other gripping a thin folder of documents. The elevator opened. Daniel walked in like he owned the building, which he assumed he soon would. Beside him, Tara wore a cream blazer and Maya's diamond tennis bracelet. Their attorney, Victor Whitmore, carried a briefcase that probably cost more than Maya's hotel room. Tara paused when she saw Maya. "You actually came, alone," she smiled. "That's almost brave." Maya said nothing. "He's already talked to people here," Tara leaned in. "You're not walking out with a single thing, not one." As she turned to leave, her heel caught the strap of Maya's bag on the floor. Maya lurched forward, grabbing the wall to keep herself upright, gasping, both hands flying to protect her stomach. Tyra glanced back, not with alarm, with satisfaction. A court officer standing nearby watched every second of it, said nothing, filed it away. Inside the courtroom, Daniel's table looked like a war room. 3 lawyers, 2 associates, stacked binders and matching water glasses. Maya's table had a paper cup and her folder. "All rise." Judge Leonard Caldwell walked in, silver-haired, black-robed, unreadable. He did not look at the lawyers. He did not look at the gallery. He sat, arranged his papers, and began to read. "Appearances. Victor Whitmore for the plaintiff, Daniel Hargrove. Maya Hargrove, representing myself, Your Honor." Leonard looked up. His eyes settled on her for exactly 1 second. No warmth, no recognition, the face of a stranger. "Ms. Hargrove, this case involves significant business assets. Are you certain you want to proceed without representation?" "My husband froze our joint accounts, Your Honor. I have $47. Leonard shifted his gaze to Whitmore. "Is this accurate?" "We froze marital accounts to prevent dissipation of assets." "Ms. Hargrove has a documented history of impulsive." "A simple yes will suffice, Mr. Whitmore." The room went very still. What followed over the next 2 hours was not a trial. It was an excavation. Leonard had reviewed the financial disclosures before court. He had found a shell company called Ironwood Holdings, registered in Delaware, that purchased a Portland commercial property 2 weeks prior for $4.2 million, while Daniel had declared the total marital estate at $800,000. He asked Daniel about it on the stand. Daniel stumbled, then lied, then stumbled again. Maya Cross examined her husband for the first time in their marriage, quietly, without theatrics. She asked about the $200,000 wire to Tara Flynn 6 weeks prior. She asked about the operating agreement backdated to remove her name. She held up the original incorporation documents bearing her late mother's notarized signature authorizing the $300,000 founding transfer. Daniel's face went the color of ash. Then Tara took the stand. She cried. She performed beautifully. She claimed she never knew the money was marital funds. Maya stood. "Ms. Flynn, you testified you received that wire due to personal hardship. But you spent $40,000 of it on a holiday in Santorini 3 weeks later. I have the timestamp posts. Would you like me to show the court?" Tyra's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Then Maya turned to the bench, and she looked up at the judge, not as a daughter seeking rescue, but as a woman who had finally stopped apologizing for existing. "Your Honor, this bracelet I'm wearing belonged to my grandmother. Last week I found it listed on a luxury resale site for $2,400, sold by a seller using Daniel's home address." He has been liquidating my personal property since the day he handed me that envelope. The silence in the courtroom was absolute. The pencil in Leonard Caldwell's hand snapped clean in two. He placed both halves on the bench with great care. He looked at Daniel Hargrove. He looked at Tara Flynn. He looked at Victor Whitmore, who was already quietly loosening his collar. "Mr. Hargrove," Leonard said slowly, "you testified under oath that the marital estate totals $800,000. I have a deed, a wire record, and a backdated contract that together suggest the real figure is closer to $6 million. I want to be clear. I do not view this as a discrepancy. I view this as perjury." Daniel shot to his feet. "This judge is compromised." "She knew someone. She set this up." "Sit down, Mr. Hargrove. I want him recused. I want a new hearing. I paid good money to make sure, Mr. Hargrove." The voice did not rise. It went quieter, which was far more frightening. "You told your wife you had already paid the right people. You believed this courtroom was purchased. I would like you to look at this bench very carefully and understand that it was not." 5 full seconds of silence. "I am declaring the prenuptial agreement void due to fraudulent asset concealment. All assets connected to Ironwood Holdings and Hargrove Construction are frozen pending criminal review. Full custody of the unborn child is awarded to Ms. Hargrove, with supervised visitation to be reviewed post-birth. 80% of the verified marital estate goes to Ms. Hargrove. The financial evidence is referred to the district attorney effective today." Daniel lunged toward the bar. Officers moved fast. Tyra burst into real tears for the first time all morning. Victor Whitmore was already checking his phone, calculating how quickly he could file a motion to withdraw. As the courtroom cleared and the doors slammed shut, Leonard descended from the bench for the first time. He walked through the gate. Maya was still standing at her table, both hands over her stomach, tears falling silently onto her one good suit. He crossed the room and put his arms around his daughter and didn't say anything for a long time. Daniel Hargrove pleaded guilty to 3 counts of financial fraud 8 months later. He is currently serving 4 years. Tara Flynn cooperated with prosecutors. She left Portland. Nobody misses her. Maya had her daughter 6 weeks after the trial. She named her Alina after her grandmother, whose bracelet she still wears every day. She used the settlement to finish the nursery, clear her mother's estate debts, and fund a legal aid program for pregnant women navigating divorce without representation. As of this year, the program has helped over 200 women. On a Sunday morning about a year later, an older man with silver hair sat in a rocking chair in a small house in Portland, holding a sleeping baby girl against his chest. "She has your eyes," Maya said from the doorway. He looked up. And for the first time in years, he didn't look like a judge. He just looked like a grandfather. Daniel Hargrove took the house, the car, the inheritance, and the name. He paid lawyers to bury her. He paid people to make sure the system would bend in his direction. He forgot one thing. He never learned her father's last name. And that single act of arrogance cost him his empire, his freedom, and his daughter he never knew existed. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach people who need to hear stories like this. Share it with someone who is going through something hard and needs to be reminded that the right person sometimes shows up exactly when you need them. Subscribe so you never miss the next story, because we post every week, and some of them are even better than this one. I'll see you in the next one.